old-fashioned humdings. I am actually going to use marshmallows because it just makes a better sticky substance to me than trying to make one with sugar and butter. We're just going to use 1 stick of butter. That's a 1/2 cup. Now you're going to need marshmallows, and it's better to get miniature, but I didn't want to spend money when I've already got some at the house. So we're going to use a 1/2 bag. If you were using 2 sticks, you could use 10 ounces, but we just really need 5 ounces for this recipe. All right, let's add our marshmallows and let them start melting in there. I'm going to put in 19. Oh, let's do 20. 20 large marshmallows. So it's a 1/2 stick of butter with 20 large marshmallows. And these marshmallows are just going to melt, and then we're going to whisk it together good. I'm going to use my little gravy whisk. I whisk this together. Now it's going to form into a glossy candy. If you don't have a gravy whisk, it's a good investment. They're not expensive. Just go on our website at www.colorvalleycooks.com. Can't go wrong with a gravy whisk. Look how great that looks. All right, we're going to pour this into our bowl over here. Okay, we are going to add 1 cup of chopped pecans. This is not quite an 8-ounce container of chopped dates. I didn't want to buy more, so you can put the whole 8 ounces in there if you want to. That was more like 6. And so I'm using 2 cups of Rice Krispies. So we're going to mix this together. Make sure you get down in the bottom of the bowl with a nice spatula. It's already starting to want to harden, so you need to get it mixed in there pretty good. And let me get me a good spoon and get all that goody stuff off the bottom. Yummy, that's good. All right, there's all my sticky stuff too. Okay, you got to roll these by hand anyway, so you may as well get your hands in it. Wash your hands real good, and then get you some butter and rub it all over your hands, and then start mixing this together good. You're going to have to form it into balls, so you got to use your hands anyway, so you may as well just mix it with your hands instead of fooling with the mixer. Just make sure you're buttered good, okay? And just start kneading them together so that all of them is going to have that good candy in it. Look at that, it looks delicious. This is an old-fashioned candy recipe. It's really, really delicious. We're going to take this now and we're going to form it into balls, and I'm just going to keep putting butter on my hands as I go. So you're just going to get a piece off about the size of a walnut, and you're going to roll it. They're a lot like Rice Krispie treats, except they have the pecans and the dates, and then once they cool all the way down, we're going to roll them in powdered sugar. All right, you can see all of our little humdings, and we are going to roll these in powdered sugar once they get cooled down a little. And it's fun to make. It's a fun recipe to make with your grandkids or your neighbors or whoever. All right, our date balls are ready to dip in powdered sugar for serving, and they're really delicious. I even let the kids taste one, and they didn't really know what was in them, and they were like, that's good, tastes like a Rice Krispie treat. After you coat them, take them over to the side and kind of, you know, move them around a little bit and beat off some of that so that when somebody picks it up, they don't get it all over their pretty clothes at Christmas. I hope y'all had fun making these delicious old-fashioned humdings today. When you open it up, you can see how it will stretch. You can see how it's sticky and nice and gooey, which is delish. And then the pecans are, it's just really good dessert. Very good.
If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please head down, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded.
Hey y'all, today we're making orange balls, those delicious treats rolled in coconut. We're going to start with a whole box of vanilla wafers. I have got a large piece of parchment cut off, and I'm just going to pour these underneath it and roll out about half of them at a time to crush them. So you're going to need crushed vanilla wafers. Okay. And they don't all have to be perfect, because once they get in the liquid, they are going to kind of turn to mush anyway. Make sure you use the whole box. There's the rest of our vanilla wafers. This is an easy recipe, fast, something you can do with the kids and it'd be fun. So you've got the whole box of vanilla wafers in there. You're going to put in a cup of chopped pecans. So we're going to pour in a stick of melted butter. That's a half cup. And now Minute Maid frozen orange juice concentrate, 6 ounces. That's half of one of the larger the regular containers like Mama always bought. Okay, I'm going to mix this on a high speed and get it mixed really well. And then after it's mixed up really well, we're going to add some powdered sugar. Now you can see that's nice and mushy. We're going to start adding the powdered sugar. Turn it down on the lowest speed, and we're going to add 2 cups of powdered sugar. There's 1. And 2. Take that parchment paper you used with your cookies, just crush those and lay them out on the table. You're going to take your cookies, or your cookie dough is pretty much what it is. And I'm going to get a scooper, teaspoon and a half or so size. So I'm just going to plot these out right here on my wax paper. And then we're going to roll them in coconut. This is 1 cookie you can make, and you don't have to wait on it to get refrigerated. You don't have to bake it. You just make them, and they're ready. Orange balls. I'm about to roll them in coconut. It makes about 50 to 60 balls. These can be frozen. So if you love them, or somebody in your family loves them and you know you can't eat this many, you can put them in the freezer and get them out and eat them later. So that's great, isn't it? Now, we're going to start rolling these in the coconut. So you can roll them in your hands if you want to and make a big mess, but I'm just going to pick up the ball that I dropped on here, And I'm just going to roll it in the coconut. They're pretty on the table, and they're delicious. They're very Christmassy. I'll show you how pretty it looks on the black platter. And I've got Baker's Flaked Coconut. I did have an off-brand, but I prefer Baker's if you're going to do these because it's nice and moist. The off-brands are usually just a little bit drier coconut, so also keep that in mind when you're baking for the holidays. Okay, there they are. Now it's time to take a bite for y'all. I hope y'all have enjoyed watching orange balls. Yummy. The orange is very strong because of the concentrated orange juice. Oh, it's just delicious. It's got salt, it's got sweet, it's got pecans, coconut, vanilla wafers. You can't go wrong.
Okay, video one. Video one.
That is so good. All right, I have found that the easiest way to do this is with shears. And they're going to get sticky. And it's not the most arthritis-friendly dessert. What I like to do, you'll see the large part of it in here. Instead of trying to cut up this part because it is so sticky in the middle, I just go around the edges. You need a cup of pieces. And I pinch off the corners from the orange slices, just like you're seeing me do here. And that way, when it goes to mix in the batter, you know, it's not just one big sticky mess. If you're worried about what are you going to do with these, you could always use them and melt them in your tea at Christmas for some flavored tea. Throw some cherry juice in there with it and have a good fruity tea, or eat them. Just put them in a bowl and eat them. It's only $1 to buy these at the store in these little packs, and one pack will be plenty to do this recipe. So you just need 1 cup of these orange slice pieces. This is my favorite Christmas cookie, period. Really, it's my favorite cookie. It's so good. The little orange pieces melt in there and they get chewy, and it's just a burst of flavor in your mouth, and it's chewy with the toasted pecans. But you're going to start out with your brown sugar and shortening. Now, if you don't want to use shortening, yes, you can use butter, but the recipe does call for shortening. This is in my second cookbook. So you're going to use 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar. These are 1/2 cup scoops. All right, so we got our brown sugar in there. The next step is to put your shortening in there. It's a whole cup of shortening. I've got a 1/3 cup scoop, and I'm going to use it 3 times. Well, just make sure you get, exactly a cup in there, or right at a cup. And you're going to cream the sugar and the shortening together. There you go. We're going to turn this on and start creaming this together. All right, once this gets really creamy, we're going to add our eggs one at a time, and we'll be adding 3 eggs. All right, we're gonna scrape the sides. Definitely needs to be scraped. It's a lot of eggs for cookies. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon. We're gonna add a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda, and of course, a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're gonna start adding our flour, a 1/2 cup at a time. Now our flour calls for 2.5 cups of flour, and it's all purpose. That's why we're putting in the soda and the baking powder. We probably need to get that shield and put on it. Did you count? All right, now we're going to add a cup of chopped pecans and a cup of our chopped up orange slices. And then we're going to get these in the oven. All right, we're going to bake these at 375 degrees for 12 minutes. But now I want mine to be good and brown because the toastier they make those pecans and the toastier they are, the better they are. So you definitely want to make sure and cook them at 375 and not on 350. Even if you don't like orange slices, you'll probably like these cookies because it's really like a sticky candy once it melts in the cookie. It's just really good. If you like chewy stuff. All right, these are going in the oven. We'll see y'all. Let's get them in here in 12 minutes. All right, it has been 12 minutes. You want them nice and toasty like this because that is what makes them taste so good, y'all, is those toasted pecans. Wait, Chris, I gotta get my hand up under this. And you want to make sure to get them nice and toasty because that's what makes those pecans taste so good. They're still nice and hot, but I'm going to show you how nice they look.
You should let them cool off a little bit.
I'm just going to open one while it's hot. Let me see the gooey part. See how it looks while it's still warm. See that candy in there? Yummy. Can't wait to eat them. I'm going to let it cool just a sec and we'll come right back. I hope y'all have enjoyed watching me make my favorite cookie. Delicious. Large lemon, and I always cut the knobs off. And I'm going to juice it. And the lemons actually go in these squeezers opposite the old-fashioned one you would do this with, like when we were growing up, but these are actually made to put this in the opposite direction and then press the lemon, and that way the seeds don't fall out inside your juice. Okay, so our lemon juice is in there. The next thing I'm going to put in is sugar. We are going to be using 1.5 cups of sugar. These are 1/2 cup scoops. There's 1.5 cups of sugar. All right, here it goes in. 1 cup of shortening. And yes, that's what makes tea cakes taste good and taste like what you remember your mama making and your grandmother making. So don't use butter when you're trying to make a good tea cake. Just trust me. Now we're gonna add 3 eggs. Turn it on low. This is lemon extract, and I'm just going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon. I didn't want to put too much lemon juice in this because you want your cookie dough to be stiff and not runny, and so adding the lemon juice actually adds some wet in here, so we have to make sure not overdo it. And I can see my shortening still stuck to the bottom. So let me get it off the bottom right quick. Always make sure, even if you've got a whisk that's supposed to take it, not a whisk, but even if you've got a paddle with the silicone, you still need to scrape the bottom. Now we're going to put in vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Salt's really good with lemon. Now we're going to start adding our flour. We're going to use 3 cups. And I'm going to look at the consistency, and I may add one more. It's just toward how it looks. It's a 1/2 cup. 1 cup. One and 1/2. 2. 2 1/2. 3. I'm going to add another 1/2 cup. I didn't fill that all the way up. So it's 3 1/2 cups of self-rising flour. And I'm going to taste this and make sure it tastes good. Yes, even if it has egg in it, I'm going to taste it. But you can see how thick it is. It's kind of wet. I think it needs more lemon. So we're going to add a whole teaspoon of extract. And I'm going to add more flour. It's probably going to take another cup. So right now we got 3 1/2 cups. That makes 4. Four and a half. It's more like cookie dough. I'm going to taste it and make sure it's sweet enough. Now that's good. I like it. I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of sugar in it. That's a lot of cookie dough. So we'll be able to freeze part of this. And this is going to be really good cookies, I can tell. I'm going to put a little parchment on my cookie sheet. And I'm going to use my little scooper, and we're going to make the first batch. This is about a tablespoon, I think. And these are on our website as well. Anything you see in my kitchen, if you like it, you can go onto our website and order you one. But I'm going to make these little round cookies. I'm not sure how much they're going to spread out, but I'm wanting to dip them in some powdered sugar. The salt that I added is really, really good in this recipe, so do not leave out the extra salt. The self-rising flour has a little salt. All right. We're going to get these in a 375-degree oven, and I'm going to bake these. I want them to be nice and brown and toasted on the bottom. I'm going to bake them at 375 for 13 minutes. There we go. Can't wait to eat these. And go ahead and get you out some powdered sugar and put it in a bowl, because we're going to dip these in some powdered sugar while they're still warm, so that it's nice and toasty. Whoops. And that's how I wanted them, nice and toasty. Turn on the light for y'all. But you do want them to get toasted because the flour has a better flavor if they're toasty. I'm just dipping their tops in it now. This is how they look in 12 minutes. So they're not quite as dark and they're a little more lemony than and then the darker ones, of course, are crunchier. So you can be the judge of how you want to cook them. All right, we made some that were lighter. Another thing is you can throw these in a bag, a gallon-sized bag, put a little powdered sugar in them and shake them. And that might be easier than what I did while they were hot, because the powdered sugar is going to stay on there. They don't have to be hot. So I'm putting these in the cookie jar. I prefer them without the powdered sugar because then it don't make a mess when you want to go get a cookie. May like the ones that weren't quite as brown because she said the lemon was stronger tasted. And that's about all that's going to fit in that cookie jar. Just like shake them. Sometimes when you shake it, it makes a difference, but that's about all that's going to go in that one. That is fantastic. Fantastic. A tea cake with lemon flavor. Hey y'all, it's Tammy with Collard Valley Cooks, and today Chris is out fishing and we're going to be making him some apple cookies. Why? Because I found apples on sale. Let's get started. Hey y'all, it's Tammy with Collard Valley. Hey, it's Tammy with Collard Valley Cooks. It said it was reconnecting. Hope you're having a great day. I bought some apples on sale yesterday, and so I wanted to make something out of them. And me and Chris have got to where we really like to snack on cookies, so we are making some apple cookies. They had these for $4.99 a bag. They're Pink Lady apples, and so that's what we're going to use to do our cookies today. Right now, I'm just chopping up the apples, and I'm getting a pretty little. And I guess you could grate them or put them in a chopper if you wanted to. If you don't want to do it this way, that's fine. Now, what it says to do first is beat margarine, sugar, eggs, and vanilla together. So I'm going to just add those 3 ingredients. Brown sugar, egg, now we've got our margarine, our sugar, our egg, and vanilla in here. And now we're going to start adding the dry ingredients. This is an apple cookie. It's nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon. Salt, 1/2 teaspoon. This is 2 cups of flour. And then the rest of the flour. Okay. Yummy. All right, let's scrape the sides and make sure it's mixed in there good. It looks good to me. That nutmeg got up on the side. I want to make sure it gets into the cookie. Now we're going to add apples and pecans to it. Now the recipe called for chocolate chips, but I don't want to use chocolate chips in mine because this is, me and Chris just have been wanting some cookies, and these are going to be delicious. But here's the apples, and it called for 1 cup, but I'm putting a little extra apple in it. And then we're going to make some frosting when they are cooking, okay? So there's our apple, our pecans. It's a whole cup of nuts. You can use walnuts or pecans or whatever you want to use, whatever you have handy. And it looks like they're going to be a really wet cookie. But that's all the flour it called for. Oh, we didn't put our soda in there. It's a half teaspoon. Let's do that right quick. Lord, I about forgot. And now I got to make sure I mix it up good because nobody wants a big hunk of soda in their mouth.
If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please head down, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded.
That's all there is to it. I just wanted to make these because the apples were on sale and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get those apples and there's no way we're going to eat them all, so I'll make a dessert out of them. So I'm going to spray my baker's pan with some Baker's Joy. And this pan is a Rita pan off of our knife website link. They have cake pans, brownie pans, and baking pans, and they're really nice. And I'm just going to drop these by spoonfuls, okay, onto the cookie sheet. Let me move y'all back just a tiny bit. Now, here we go. And I have no idea how much they're going to spread or anything. So if they do spread together, we'll live and learn, okay? As we go. I've never made these before. It's something new. These are apple. They're called Frosty Apple Bites, but I'm going to call them Frosted Apple Cookies, okay? So we're going to get these in the oven. And so we'll set the timer. So I thought they'd be good. You know what? I should have thrown a little oatmeal in them. That would have been even better. But I didn't. I meant to. I mean, it's not in the recipe, but it would be delicious, wouldn't it? So if you want to throw a little oatmeal in yours, go right ahead. Matter of fact, I might take the rest of this mix and mix a little oatmeal in it. All right, so we're going to add just a little oatmeal in the rest of these cookies because I think it'd be good. When I bake, I just throw stuff together. You can throw anything in there you want to, really. It ain't going to hurt nothing. So we're going to, let's get the cookies out. I'm going to stir this up. And the next ones we make will have some oatmeal in them. Okay? Now, it's going to melt a little bit when it goes on the cookie. So keep that in mind, too. All right, there it is. Creamy cinnamon glaze. We'll bake them at a little higher temperature than 350 next time. But on the bottom, they're brown. So they'll probably be nice and chewy on the inside and good, more than likely. This pan, they just come right up off of it because it's non-stick. Boy, these look good. Now, this is going to melt and just fall down over the top of them. And you should ice them while they're still warm, so it will. All right, now this batter has the oatmeal in it. So we're going to get these in the oven, and we'll see which ones we like the best. And these are the oatmeal cookies. We're going to see how they turn out. They're a little taller, so they didn't spread out as much. I saved the rest of the batter so we can refrigerate it and make cookies again and have them fresh. So I like to do that lots of times. I leave it in there up to a week. You can freeze it and keep it for a long time. All right, I'll show y'all these up close. That's the apple oatmeal. And then this is just the apple. So you can tell that the consistency is a little different between the two. So it's like having oatmeal in the morning. It's hard for me to decide. Okay. My decision is without oatmeal, believe it or not, because you can taste the apple a lot more and you can feel it in your mouth a lot more. You can just really taste the apple more without the oatmeal. When you put the oatmeal in it, it doesn't really taste oatmeal-y to me. Now, it might when it's cold, but I can't chew on the texture of the apple as good, if that makes sense. So I would prefer making these without the oatmeal. This is an old-fashioned recipe, so it uses shortening. And it starts out with a cup of shortening. And 1 1/2 cups of sugar. So you're going to blend your shortening and sugar first together. This is a 1/4 scoop. I'm going to use it 2 times. And that way we'll have a 1 1/2 cups of sugar and a cup of shortening. We're going to blend these together and we're going to add 3 eggs, 1 at a time. I'm going to scrape the sides of the mixer a little bit. Make sure we get all that shortening mixed in there really good. I'm going to do something a little bit different and add a teaspoon of vanilla to my cookies because I can. Because it's good. Now, if you buy the mincemeat that's dried in a block, you're going to have to read the directions on how to fix it before you add it to your cookies because you've got to soften it. This is wet mincemeat. It's already soft in the jar, so there's a difference in the two. So keep that in mind when you pick it up at the store. We're going to be using our White Lily all-purpose flour. Yes, we are now sponsored by White Lily, and I am so proud to be sponsored by them because I wouldn't use any other flour anyway. So I'm really excited about it. If you're up north and you can't get White Lily in the store, you can get it on Walmart.com or through Amazon on our website. But remember, if you go through Walmart, it's going to be cheaper. So we're going to add 3 1/4 cups of this all-purpose flour. And I'm going to add some soda and salt in between. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of cups of the flour before I add my soda and salt. I just made a mess. Oh well, y'all. It's the rain just a little bit. Chris says that's part of cooking. I think I'll go ahead and add my mincemeat now. Oh, let's go ahead and throw the baking soda and salt in there. We're going to use a teaspoon of baking soda, and we're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, And I'm going to mix that up good while we measure out our minced meat. We're going to be using 1.5 cups of the minced meat. So there's a 1/2 cup. All right, there's our another 1/2 cup of minced meat. It's going in. It smells good. The last 1/2 cup. This makes a lot of cookies, y'all. It's 3 cups of flour. So get ready to have plenty of it. And you can freeze it. Leave it in the refrigerator and cook some now and cook some later. Whatever you want to do. Now we're going to mix that up and add the rest of our flour. We'll be adding another 1.25 cups of flour. That's it. Our cookies are mixed up. We're going to drop them by teaspoons and get them in the oven. I guess I could have scraped my bowl. Sure does smell good. I've never had these. My friend, Joan Bunge, has been watching Colored Valley Cooks for a very long time, and she has tried to get me to make these several times. Now, she uses the dried minced meat, and so I'm so excited to get to. So I'm so excited to get to actually taste these. I'm gonna taste them like this. Tastes like spice cake. That's what it tastes like. All right. Let's get these in the oven. We're going to be baking these at 400 degrees for 12 minutes. You're going to drop them by teaspoons full. So it's nice and creamy. It looks almost like cake batter, like a really thick cake batter in between a cake and a cookie. So make sure you use all-purpose flour or these would probably fluff up too much. But the only thing I use all-purpose flour for is cookies and pie crusts. The rest of the time, I use my self-rising. I mean, to bread and to do everything with. Make gravy. This makes a lot of cookie batter. So if you don't want to make them all at one time, you can easily refrigerate it. Now let's get these in the oven. Time to get these out, y'all. 12 minutes. Smells like gingerbread to me. They look pretty. They look perfect. 12 minutes was perfect. You can tell these on the back are a little bit darker than the front ones. But boy, they look pretty. And they smell so good. We're going to put them out on the serving tray. And start our next batch. But first, we got to taste them for you guys. It's perfectly toasted on the bottom. Now, if you've never had a stainless steel cookie sheet, they're like the best ever. And there's nothing like them. It's just a stainless steel sheet. And we use parchment paper. They're going to be soft, I can tell. They're really delicious. They remind me a lot of gingerbread, but they have apples and raisins in them. They're really good. And baking them on a high temperature like that is going to make them nice and toasty around the edges, which makes the flour taste really good. And it's going to leave them nice and chewy and soft in the middle. It's going to be a delicious, delicious cookie. I'm very pleased, Joan. I am so glad I finally listened to you and made the mincemeat cookies. Y'all have a wonderful day. And thanks for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like Mama did. Bye, y'all. Love ya. Love you, Joan.